Today on Attack, Common will be here to talk about Season 2 of AMC's Hell on Wheels. And Matt Myra rounds up the best and worst iPhone and iPad accessories from Brookstone, including a projector, a document scanner, and a roll-up keyboard. Then Jessica Chobot faces off with Bourne Legacy stars Jeremy Renner, Edward Norton, and Rachel Weisz. And we've got the latest breaking news from Middle-earth. Find out more in the feed. Stick around, Attack of the Show starts now.
Welcome to Attack of the Show. What's up, y'all? My name is Baratunde Thurston. I am a comedian, a geek, and author of the book How to Be Black. I worked for 5 years as director of digital at The Onion, and I founded a new company called Cultivated Wit. Also, very important, I ride a pink bike and I enjoy surfing. Thank you. Thank you.
Underwood, y'all know about me already. Candace is on assignment and got the Fluistan. Oh, we're coming to you live.
Got the Fluistan. That's like a place where people with the flu go to live, some kind of compound or quarantine.
I don't know. You just make me say this stuff.
Oh, Sarah.
So, Sarah Tunde.
Sarah Tunde. Hashtag. Let's trim that. Trim that. Yes.
It's like Bradgelina, but.
So how was your weekend,
Tunde.
Sarah? What were you up to?
Oh my gosh, I'm still not right. I went to the OC Fair and all I did was eat.
What'd you eat?
I ate a sausage like this big, I kid you not, and a beer bigger than my head.
That sounds
Look at that!
terrible.
And that's like 7 bites into that sausage. And that beer, oh my gosh. And then
That is so unhealthy.
I deep fried everything. Like Oreos, Twinkies, deep fried red velvet, all of that.
Is there something you're trying to tell us here? Like, are you having problems at home? What's going on? Why did you...
I am, I've been a little depressed.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Boy troubles. It's all right, I'll find another one.
Hey now.
How about you? How was your weekend?
It was a great weekend. I've been in LA all weekend, and my highlight was actually spending 4 hours with some of my good friends from college. They have 3 kids, and I spent most of my time entertaining a 4-year-old boy and a 2-year-old boy.
Oh my gosh.
It's the hardest gig I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
They are relentless, and I just kept improvising, and I found my way to like this monster mode where I would activate and become a monster, but that just meant they just kept saying the word activate at me over and over. Baratunde, reactivate, reactivate!
Wait, okay.
So yeah, it was exhausting.
All right, we all want to, I would like to see the reactivate.
Really?
You brought it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to get kind of into my monster character.
Okay.
All right.
Do you need me to say it?
Yes.
Baratunde, activate!
I'm a monster. I'm coming for you. You are 4 years old, and thus this is high art to you. Very entertaining.
But then, like,
like
3
that,
more
huh?
hours of that.
Oh, Lord.
I was on the ground writhing around. It was a lot of work.
I'm amazed you still have a voice right now.
Yes, it was a good warm-up for the day.
All right, well, I'm sure there's someone getting hit on the face on YouTube right now, so, shall we,
How about we go around the net? All right.
They're excited for ATN. The internet has launched a lot of promising musical careers.
But this isn't one of them.
Tate Music Group presents Pinkle Tank. Get Tangled.
Time out. You're grounded. I will be but time out. You're grounded.
Available at TateMusicGroup.com, PinkleTank.com, and in stores near you.
Get tangled!
Terrible.
See, who says music is dead?
I think everyone in that video said music was dead. Ugh.
Good point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Next up is another entry from John and Al Kaplan, the YouTube team that's made a name for themselves by bringing bad 80s action movies to Broadway.
Now they've set their sights on Sylvester Stallone's tribute to aging action stars, The Expendables.
If you're looking to get the job done, Be it murder or rescuing ladies, you cannot do better than old guys who were popular back in the 80s. Yes, old or prematurely bald, the fearless fighting force that's called the Expendables. Expendables. The Expendables. The Expendables. The Expendables. The Expendables. The Expendables. The Expendables. PG-13 is for pussy. The Expendables. The Expendables.
That was amazing. I'd like to point out, it sounds like they're saying the Expandables, which probably works for the waistline of the stars of that film. So, after all those old guys kill the terrorists, they're going to drive home with their turn signals on the entire time.
Yeah, man, that song makes me long for another video by Pinkle Tank, I gotta say.
Time out. You're grounded. I will be but time out.
God, that is the worst. Also, tankled, not a word.
No.
You can't do
What is
that.
that?
What are we teaching these kids?
What is that? An adjective?
It's
Verb?
not, no. I'm going to just say no on this.
Just nothing. Not a word.
Finally, we've got a commercial for a very special baseball promotion by the Dodgers.
Now, a recent free bobblehead night was dedicated to legendary batter Kirk Gibson, who is known for making a signature victorious hand gesture.
What could possibly go wrong with that?
We brought the It's Cool to Hustle to LA. It was fire and brimstone and gamer, and it was the thing that put us over the top.
Fans with the first 50,000 tickets will receive this fist-pumping Kirk Gibson bobblehead compliments of San Manuel Indian Bingo and Casino. Dodger baseball, an LA tradition.
There are children in the stands, people.
With thousands of those given out, Wednesday morning is clearly going to be bobblehead cleanup day. So bring your hazmat suits, everybody.
Are they letting baseball players masturbate on the field now?
I don't think so.
Because that would have made baseball way more interesting.
Truth. And now, look, it turns out that Matt Damon isn't always going to be there when you call him. I learned that the hard way via restraining order.
Yeah, well, that's why we have Jeremy Renner.
Move over, Matt Damon. There's a new action hero in the global espionage game, and he's just as pissed. The ultimate super soldier saga continues with the Bourne Legacy. So where do we fall with this particular story in the Bourne universe?
Same umbrella, just kind of widening the lens to see that there are other programs and other agents as the continuum really from Ultimatum. There's a coexisting sort of world that's just outside of what was happening in Ultimatum. And we realize it's much bigger than we ever anticipated.
We are morally indefensible and absolutely necessary.
It pulls right out of the conclusion of the last one, and in fact overlaps so that the things that were taking place at the end of the last one are essentially being observed and then reacted to, and it's very seamless.
Now, you had a pretty incredible scene where you guys are driving crazily through Manila, through the back streets on this motorcycle. How terrifying was that?
It was terrifying. It was completely terrifying. The only good thing about that is I didn't have to act at all. I was just I was as terrified as my character, so I didn't have to pretend. We were driving at very high speeds through, hundreds of stunt cars, and we had to weave in and out of them, and if one of these stunt cars had moved a few millimeters to the left or the right, we would have been very hurt.
How many cars did you destroy in the making of this film?
Well, I don't know. Someone must know that. A lot.
I mean...
A lot. I don't know the answer to that question.
So you're no stranger to action films. So on a scale from 1 to 10, how did this particular film beat you up?
Well, I think every day it was, getting beat up, but I feel like that's sort of part of the job. If you're not getting beat up somehow, some way, you're not working hard enough. But there's a fine line of getting beat up and not getting injured.
We take the moral excrement that we find in this equation and we bury it down deep inside of us so that the rest of our cause can stay pure.
In your opinion, in real life, do you think super soldiers might actually exist?
You know, there have been all kinds of very openly acknowledged research programs to try to help our soldiers become optimized. I think what's being suggested in this is not at all far off what we're very possibly doing.
I think that there isn't anything in the film that isn't coming our way. I think anybody who's skeptical about what we're doing, if they go online when they get home, they'll be able to see that very quickly that all this stuff is out there.
Get down!
In a hand-to-hand combat fight between your character and Jason Bourne, who do you think would win?
I think Hawkeye would take him out.
All the pulse-pounding action you've grown accustomed to from the series that redefined the spy thriller. Bourne Legacy, more intense than an elbow to the face.
Awesome. Thanks, Murder Spies. And now, the world's a mess, but here are some things that make sense. So American cable and internet services are too expensive, too slow, and riddled with shows about Kardashians. However, Google might have the answer to the first two of those problems. Years ago, news came out that Internet Godzilla was investing in fiber optics, and now we know why. Google Fiber. Basically, Google is laying down its own network in Kansas City and offering locals download speeds of 1 gigabit per second. That means the Kansas City Public Library will have the fastest internet in the country, which is excellent news for its porn-surfing homeless patrons. For this lightning-fast service, Google plans to charge $70 a month, compared to Time Warner's 50 megabit offering at $80 a month. So essentially, Google offers 20 times the speed for $10 less a month. So what was Time Warner's brilliant initial response? Well, they offered their employees a $50 one-time bounty for any tips, rumors, and rumblings about Google's plans. Yeah. This means that for 1 month, this lucky, loyal employee could conceivably get Google's superior service for just $20. Way to out-innovate, Time Warner. Keep it up. Now, for $120 a month, Google Fiber subscribers will be able to include TV service via set-top box with a free Google Nexus tablet as the remote. That's way better than the typical cable company remote, and it's almost an iPad. Now, as Google experiments with physical networks, it could become an actual, real cable company, which means they'll get to your house on about the same schedule as a real cable company. So everybody, right now, just make sure you're at home between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. from now to 2018. And now I want to take a moment to let you know about a great web app that I can personally vouch for. It's called PadMapper, and it streamlines the inelegant listings on Craigslist housing section, framing them in an easy-to-use, attractive, and searchable Google map. For their efforts at making the world a better place, Craigslist is suing them. Yeah, I know. Craigslist contends that PadMapper is using too much of their bandwidth or stealing too much of their content, or maybe they're also saying that web design peaked in 1995. I've actually met Craig before, and I want to put a personal appeal out to you right now, sir. Your site is nearly unusable. Have you ever tried to actually find an apartment on Craigslist, Craig? It's a nightmare. Half the time, a Beverly Hills adjacent house is actually in St. Louis. Now, the other half of the time, I end up reading Casual Encounters for 3 hours. Although I'm pretty sure there's nothing casual about nudity and jumper cables. Anyway, settle down, y'all, settle down. Anyway, PadMapper takes your information, Craig, and it makes it actually useful for humans. If you guys aren't going to improve the site yourselves, at least let someone else do it. All you're doing now is standing in the way of progress. It's 2012, and Craigslist feels like an old-timey steampunk internet. We're lucky it's not on microfiche. If we stopped all development in the mid-1990s like Craigslist has, I'd still be rocking a Gumby hairstyle. Which would be terrible if I'm not being clear. And people would still be using cocaine for headaches. we'd be in perpetual mourning for Kurt Cobain. Our country would still be dwelling on how best to deny gay citizens the right to marry, and our Congress would be swept up in partisan gridlock, inventing baseless scandals of the sitting oh my God. We are stuck in 1995. I can't wait to find out who shot Mr. Burns. Be afraid. Be very afraid. This past Friday, Army General Keith Alexander, who is the chief of the United States Cyber Command, for those who don't own his action figure yet, announced that the U.S. is completely unprepared for a serious cyber attack. According to the good general, in terms of preparedness, the U.S. is at a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. A 3. If that were a hot or not rating, we'd be talking about a girl with a hair lip on her forehead. Now, we may not be ready for an assault here at home, but that hasn't stopped us from waging full-on cyber war of our own. Early last week, the U.S. attacked Iran's nuclear program with a virus that shut down computers at 2 facilities, all while loudly playing AC/DC's Thunderstruck. But only because Sync the Pink might have sent the wrong message. Still, what if Iran decides to retaliate? In fact, I'm sure they already have. I've been hearing that Gotye song, Somebody I Used to Know, everywhere, and I'm pretty sure it's Iran's fault. But Chief General Supreme Cyber Commander Alexander, he hasn't thrown in the towel. No, this weekend, he attended the annual hacker conference, DEF CON, in Las Vegas, mostly just to beg assistance from the top security members of groups like 4chan and Anonymous. Not a bad idea, but I say let's go one step further. Recruit the developers of Angry Birds. There's innovation. When we rain furious birds down on our enemies with a giant slingshot and destroy their barrels and planks of wood, we will once again have the upper hand. Yes, and I will gladly pay 99 cents for that. After the break, we'll be talking to Wired's Noah Shackman about how the world's most popular internet security software had a hand in taking down big-time cyber weapons like Stuxnet and Flame. Stick around, y'all. Stick around. Now, before the break, we were talking about cyber warfare, but we only scratched the surface. Joining us now, the editor of Wired's national security blog, Noah Shackman. Right. Welcome, Noah.
Hey.
So when our viewers first hear the words Kaspersky, certainly from me, we often think antivirus software, but you've written a very long article in Wired's August issue about Kaspersky's involvement in cyber warfare. How they've been involved in what's going on between the U.S. and Iran. Could you explain a bit more about that?
Yeah, that's right. Kaspersky doesn't just have 300 million customers. He's also been intimately involved in this campaign of cyber espionage between the U.S. and Iran. Most folks out there who watch Attack of the Show have heard of Stuxnet and Flame. Well, it's Kaspersky's guys that first discovered those and busted those American cyber espionage operations.
So what is Kaspersky Labs' goal? Obviously, they go well beyond fighting viruses in stopping these more invasive cyber attacks, as they're calling them.
Right. Well, Eugene Kaspersky says his goal, and I mean, you're going to laugh, but he says his goal is to save the world. And he seems dead serious about that. Yeah, I know. It's like only a touch grandiose. The question is Eugene and are his people working hand in hand with the Russian government? Because obviously it's very much in the Russian government's interest to see U.S. cyber espionage programs go bust. And Eugene's got quite an interesting relationship with the Kremlin.
Well, he not only has a relationship with the Kremlin, his software has a relationship with tons of companies around the world. It's on a lot of people's computers. Who is Eugene Kaspersky?
Yeah, Eugene is, at least his public persona, he's kind of a maniac. He, right now he's volcano hiking in Kamchatka.
Is that a? I'm sorry.
He's sort of,
I'm gonna have to pause you right there. No, you said volcano hiking. Is that an
Correct.
actual activity, or is this something that only antivirus cyber warriors partake in?
Apparently, he and his 30 best friends at the company did it.
Okay.
He spent New Year's a couple years ago on the South Pole.
Okay.
And obviously, need I add, he's got one of those tickets on Richard Branson's space plane.
And he also has relationships with the FSB in Russia. Could you explain a bit more about them and what their connection to Kaspersky Labs is?
Right. Well, the FSB is basically the renamed KGB, the old Soviet secret police. And Eugene Kaspersky graduated from the KGB-sponsored Institute of Cryptology. He was a Soviet military officer. He then somehow got out of the Soviet military and started working for his old KGB professor. Now, he totally pinky swears that he has nothing to do with the Kremlin today. But,
those his words are yours.
No, those are his. He said, well, actually, his actual words were, "Swear to God, hope to die," stick vodka in my eyes.
All right, now I believe him. This is good.
Yeah. So he's bragged about how he's very good friends with the heads of the FSB. He says he works with them all the time on busting cyber criminals, but he totally swears to God that he has no relationship with the Kremlin.
Now, he was involved in a major incident. His son was kidnapped a little while back. What happened in the aftermath, and how did he end up retrieving his son?
Right, so this family of jokers kind of kidnapped his son and brought the son back to a bathhouse in the Moscow suburbs. Then they called Eugene Kaspersky up in London, where he was doing some interviews, and Eugene Kaspersky said, very cool, very nonchalant, he said, "Oh, I'm really tired, can you call me back?" And so they called him back, and he said, "Oh, I'm in the middle of an interview, can you call me back?" And then he called another time and another time, and it was a way to string him along until he could get a hold of the FSB, the renamed KGB, and get the FSB to track down the kidnappers, which they did. And in the end, he said it's very good to have friends. Now, look, that would be the equivalent of if you or I were kidnapped, again, and the CIA came and rescued us. Now, I don't know about you, but I am not about to get rescued by the CIA.
So it depends on where I am, actually. But we've painted this picture of a very eccentric, very connected, very powerful, and very intelligent man. The impact on the people watching this show maybe comes down more to his vision for the future of the internet. And I'd love for you to talk about his view of what internet security should be.
Right. So to him and to the Russian government, it's not just about data security. It's not about just keeping your information secure. It's about keeping the content of your data secure. There's such a thing as sort of dangerous speech and dangerous information. So he really hates social networks. He told me there's too much freedom there, and that it's one of the most dangerous threats to all of the internet is all the talk on social networks. Now, not coincidentally, there are massive protests going on right now in Russia that are fueled by social networks against the Putin regime. Eugene would say that's a total coincidence, that one has nothing to do with the other, but,
Yeah, maybe he would pinky swear it. Yeah. So I know you had to do a lot of work to get access to this story. Can you share a little bit of your own investigative techniques, any extreme circumstances, volcano hiking you had to partake in?
There's no volcano hiking. I did unfortunately have to go to Cancun, Mexico, and stay at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel to spend some time with him.
Yeah.
That was tough. But then I did have to join Eugene at one of his favorite restaurants in Moscow, where I dined on a delicious meal of bear meat and horseradish vodka.
Okay, so you've unlocked the badass badge for investigative reporting. And I want to thank Noah from Wired Magazine. Noah Shackman, y'all. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And now let's cut over to Sarah.
Yay! Right now, it is time to start the feed.
All the news you need to know. The feed.
It's Monday, July 30th, and here are your top stories. Put down your smartphones and listen up. It has been a big day for iPhone news. First, the official dates for the iPhone 5's debut have finally been released. Mark your calendars for the smartphone's unveiling on September 12th. Yes, and get your sleeping bags for its in-store release just a couple of weeks later on the 21st, because you know those lines are gonna be long. In other iPhone news, just 1 week after court filings revealed decade-old images of huge iPad prototypes, designs of iPhone 4 and 4S mock-ups from 2005 were also released today. One titled Joni bears a closer resemblance to the current design, while the other called P2 looks more like a mini iPod. These glimpses into the minds at Apple have come from heated patent debates in the Apple versus Samsung trial. So we can probably expect more looks at prehistoric texts as court proceedings continue. Woo! Now this morning, Peter Jackson himself took to Facebook to confirm that The Hobbit will be split into 3 separate films. Originally intended to be covered in 2 movies, rumors of a 3rd film began during the San Diego Comic-Con after the filmmaker announced he was considering splitting the 2nd film into 2 parts. Jackson is rumored to be pulling from the appendices written at the end of The Return of the King as the focus for the 3rd movie. The untitled finale is scheduled to hit theaters during the summer of 2014, but fans only have to wait a few more months for the 1st installment, which comes out December 14th. Yay! Now, sports fans watching the summer games in London were told yesterday to stop sending non-urgent texts and tweets during the events because overloaded data networks were affecting televised coverage. Yeah, according to the International Olympic Committee, a bombardment of digital messages sent by the hundreds of thousands of fans who gathered to watch the men's cycling road race caused the bikers' GPS systems to fail. Now, while this had no effect on the race itself, the system's failure meant that commentators covering the event were unable to tell viewers how far ahead leaders of the pack were. Now, Brits, hoping to see a British cyclist win the gold, took to Twitter to express their outrage and lack of information, and in the process ended up making the whole thing even worse. Wah wah. I'm Sarah Underwood, and you have just been fed. Still ahead, Common is here live to talk about The West Gone Wild on Season 2 of Hell on Wheels.
The Wild West and the present are pretty different, except for one thing. Job hunting's a bitch. Please welcome the very talented, and I am so honored to meet you, sir. Common.
Thank you.
So in the show, you play a freed slave, Elam
Yes.
Ferguson, and I gotta know, on the set, do you get extra excited when a white PA brings you a sandwich?
Yeah, of course. I like being served by.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
It's definitely redemption at that time. But, it's a lot of fun on the set, and then at the same token, it's some tension too, and you know when the N-word starts flying around on the set, and from other actors. But most of the time that happens, the actor will come and say, "Man, I'm sorry, I got to say this to you," but they do it.
It's in the script.
It's in the
It's in the times.
Yeah.
It's true to the
Yeah,
times.
it's true to the times.
Yeah.
We want to expose that and let people know that, hey, this is what was going on at those times, and some of it still occurs, you know?
Well, so I want to get into the history because this is a show set just after the Civil War.
Yes.
You're going into your 2nd season, so you've been immersed in this world for a while. Yeah. Has your experience on set, in the material, in the language, changed at all your understanding or your perspective on America?
Yeah, actually, I have gained an even better understanding of America and more respect, too, for, what we've done collectively from all nationalities to build, because when you think about what we're doing on Hell on Wheels, it's about building this railroad, which is everybody coming together to build a dream. And it's a dream to even achieve that.
Yeah.
And all the different relationships of the people. And I started to understand that everything isn't just black and white, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
And during those days, it wasn't just well, you white, so I don't like you. You black, I don't like you. It was relationships there.
It's cool to hear that too, because you often hear folks today say how simple things were in the past.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It was easy. We knew this, we knew that, and it sounds like you know,
Yeah.
through your experience, you're finding out it wasn't that cut and dry.
It wasn't that cut and dry.
Yeah.
Even though some things are simple, the bathroom is right over there. You got to go use it. You cook over here.
Well, hopefully that's still the case. I don't know if the bathrooms got real complicated. Do I pee over here? Do I pee over there?
But yeah, it was a lot more raw out there, you know?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true, man. So what were your techniques for learning the language of the era? They don't talk then
Yeah.
like we talk now.
Yeah, they definitely don't. Even though some things, some phrases I hear, I'm like, man, that came from that era, you know? But I did have to, I worked with a dialect coach, and, you know, being from Chicago is a little helpful because some of our roots come from the South, and my character, Elam Ferguson, is from the South. And, you know, I worked with the coach, and then I also just started listening to as much, like, listen to watch whatever footage to hear, you know, people from that era talk.
Yeah. And did you ever find yourself in today's world still using that language?
I can't go around talking like that, man. People would be like, what's going on with you, Common? You know, actually a friend of mine yesterday was like, man, I mean, I watched the show, but it's hard watching you as a slave. I said, I ain't a slave on there, I'm a freed man.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got to remind them. Got to, which
Yeah.
probably had to do in that time as well.
Yes.
So I know you from hip hop first, from way back before the name change and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, yeah.
How did you get into acting?
Well, you know, for me, as a musician, I love music, but I felt I hit a ceiling at a certain point, like where I just creatively was like, what else? I got to find something else to do. So I tried picking up the piano. I wasn't good at that. Singing, I'm not good at that either.
Yeah.
So actually, you know, I just started taking acting classes, and I really loved it. It was like just looking forward to going to class and looking forward to what we would do in class and how many, you know, times you just learned a lot. I learned a lot. So I started, you know, I guess I started class in 2001. And then eventually, you know, just after enough classes and auditions and not getting a job, I eventually got selected for my first film.
Okay. And has that acting fed back into your music in any way? Do you still feel like you have a ceiling musically? Have you moved it up?
Yeah, I think it opened up the ceiling, and now the sky's the limit because, you know, I'm learning more, and the more I learn, the better I can write, and the more interesting the music becomes for me. So acting has opened up some channels and vessels for me to express in music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the acting, before the rapper, you probably had some regular jobs that people out there are familiar with. Tell me about some of your more ordinary jobs.
Well, my first job was I was a janitor at a daycare center, but this was like kind of when I was coming out of elementary school.
Yes, you were cleaning
and we knew the
up
people.
kids' poop.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That was a tough job.
Yeah,
too.
it sounds like it.
Over there. Well, then eventually I got to the most interesting job, which was me sorting out parking tickets in the city of Chicago, which was the most boring thing you could do.
So you sorted by hand?
Yes, like you had to take and put them in numerical order, and it was just like sitting there all day. And I think at that point I decided, man, I gotta make my dream come true.
Yeah. Well, and also the internet came along and probably wiped that job out.
Yeah,
so.
that job is gone now. That's very true. I would have been out of a job,
Exactly.
man.
Now you got like 2 jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been so great to have you. Thank you. Real honor. I want to do a big official thanks to Common. Season 2 of Hell on Wheels premieres August 12th on AMC. And now, over to Sarah.
It's time to attack this stuff for your eyes. All right, first up, we know how hard it is to grab your smartphone from your pocket when there's something that you have to film. But what if you were already wearing a camera? Check out Tech Gadget's HD Video Sunglasses. This HD eyewear recorder not only resembles a pair of very stylish sunglasses, but records up to 32 gigs of video in 720p. You can pick up these cool shades for $149 on tech-gadgets.com. Now next, we've got something for you underwater adventurers. There's cool stuff under the sea, so why not snap a photo of it using your goggles? You can do that now thanks to this swim mask from ThinkGeek. The Video Swim Mask has an integrated waterproof 5-megapixel camera and can also shoot video. This cool swim mask eliminates the need to carry an underwater camera, keeping hands-free to swim. So go to thinkgeek.com to pick one up today for $99. Yes, stay tuned. Matt Myra has a projector for your iPhone. Up next on Gadget Prime. This portion of Attack of the Show is brought to you by T-Mobile. Test drive our nationwide 4G network.
As long as there are iPhones and iPads in the world, people are gonna keep sticking things in them.
To be clear, he's talking about accessories.
Most of the time.
Hopefully. You might know Brookstone as that store you always pass at the airport. Maybe next time you should go inside because they have some pretty cool iPhone and iPad gadgets, and today we're looking at 4. Matt Myra is going to tell us if we should buy it or don't buy it.
Yep.
What's up
sure
first, Matt?
am. This thing. Keyboard, what?
But you unrolled it. It's
I
a green
sure did.
thing that you
this
roll.
This is a Bluetooth silicone keyboard. It's a wireless keyboard for your iPad that you can conveniently or inconveniently roll up.
Yeah.
First impression, it doesn't really look like a usable keyboard, right?
No, it
and
doesn't.
your first impressions are correct. You gotta get used to it. It takes like 20 minutes of sort of typing.
Okay.
I have fat fingers, which might be the problem. I don't know. But I was hitting keys I didn't mean to, spelling things wronger than
You're
usual.
perfect the way you are.
Thank you, Baratunde.
Don't blame the keyboard.
Oh my God, guys, rechargeable battery in here.
Professional, I
It's a
love
live show. You got to keep going. You know, it is what it is.
All right.
That's how I review things now.
Well, what it is a Bluetooth silicone keyboard at $60.
Yeah.
What do you think, Matt? Buy or don't buy?
Here's what I think of this thing. Don't buy, kids. Don't waste your money on that. $60, you can go to Sparrow, get so much pizza.
And have fatter fingers to miss the key.
Pro tip, you go late in the day, they'll give you 2 for 1. That's a real thing.
That's pretty cool.
Let's move on.
Next up is the iConvert scanner for iPad.
What is this?
That's a little purse.
It sure is, from the future. Total Recall, the new one.
If you're going to send something back from the future, make it better than a purse.
This is pretty self-explanatory. It's a document scanner for your iPad,
Okay.
so you can take things that are real and put them into digital form.
Wow,
right?
people
Cool.
still do that. Awesome.
Some people do. They're old. They shop at Brookstone. It works.
Oh.
It works exactly as advertised. Very, very simple to set up. Look at it scanning right there. All of a sudden, you know, that's on the screen.
Yeah,
Good stuff,
no, it's
right?
done. It's
So
all-
basically, you have to download the free. There's a free app that comes with it. You download that. You plug in your iPad, and you're good to go. It scans at 300 DPI. Adjustable feeder, so you can put in 4x6 photographs you want to,
Yep.
or smaller than that, whatever. And it's actually very reliable. It does a good job of what it's supposed to, and it'll fit in a suitcase, so that's no problem.
All right, and it's a higher resolution than the actual camera built in. 'Cause
Almost anything is.
would have been. The iConvert scanner for iPad is $150. Is this a buy or don't buy?
I'm gonna say go ahead and buy it.
Nice.
There's a practical application for this. It's a nice thing. $150, pretty cheap for a document scanner. So I'm not gonna throw it because it's expensive.
I'm proud of you for not hating all the time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next up is the aluminum tablet pen. That's right.
Yeah.
Aluminum tablet pen.
This is it. This is a stylus pen. It's very tiny. I don't know if you can. There it is.
Looks
right
like
there.
like a pen.
Yeah, I like the design of it. It's a nice thing, I suppose, if you like things. It feels like a pen,
That's good.
but it feels like a cheap pen, which is a problem. And it's pretty much a stylus, so you don't have to use your finger. So people that want to draw on your iPad or your iPhone, go ahead and get this. It's on the lower end, though, as far as these styluses are concerned. I've seen a few out there that are actually pretty good. This one feels kind of cheap, but, you know, you can do that.
A cheap pen that
Yeah.
you sort of kind of maybe like.
Yeah.
It's aluminum tablet pen,
Yeah.
$20.
20 big ones.
I feel like I know where you're going to go on this one, but I got to ask you to be
We're on a
professional.
wavelength right now,
Yes,
Barry.
sir. Buy or do not buy?
Don't buy.
Oh!
Sorry.
Another
There are
pause.
superior styluses out there. I'd recommend the Wacom Bamboo tablet, the stylus. Not the tablet, the stylus.
The stylus and the
Yeah,
tablet. All the
right?
stuff.
Here we go.
All the stuff. Get the stuff.
Last one's my favorite.
but certainly not least.
Yeah.
This is pretty awesome.
I
A
know.
pocket projector for iPhone.
It's so awesome. I dropped into your shot there for a second. This is a very cool gadget. What is this? You're saying, what? I don't understand. What do I
looks
do
like
with
a
this?
case for
well,
your
here's what you do
iPhone.
with this. This is your iPhone 4S. You slide this little guy in here the proper way, like that.
Yep.
And all of a sudden,
You've
not
doubled the
only do
size
you
of your iPhone.
Double the size of your iPhone, but you have a projector on this thing.
That's
I know,
crazy.
it's super cool. Look at my face on a wall.
Oh,
It's
my
all
God.
I've ever wanted in life.
I hope you want more in life.
No, just my face on the wall. It's all set.
That's so sad.
I can die now. The picture quality is actually pretty good.
Okay.
It's very impressive. It's a little shaky if you're holding it in your hands, especially if you're me. You're not the most steady of hands. Native resolution is 640 by 360, and it will project very sharply up to a 50-inch image.
So can I get rid of my television?
No, don't do that. That's silly. You want to be able to see things in somewhat high definition.
Okay.
But this is a very cool thing. It's only 15 lumens, so it's not particularly bright.
Right.
But it's also a very cool thing to have. It's a projector. It charges your phone when you're not using the projector itself, and there's a rechargeable battery in here. I like it a lot. It's very cool.
I feel like I know exactly where you're going to go
Well,
on this
then,
one.
yeah.
Pocket projector for the iPhone, $230. Buy
Yeah.
versus don't buy.
This is a buy.
Yeah.
I love this thing. It's a case too, so if you drop your iPhone, it'll be protected, but your $230 case will not be.
I love that.
It's certainly not for everyone, but it's a portable projector thing, and Brookstone for me is about free massage and cool stuff. And this is a cool thing. I like it a lot.
Maybe
That's
give us a
it.
massage in the future.
Oh, I hope. Oh boy, if they could. That's it for today's Gadget Run. We did it.
Yes, we did, up top. And now over to Sarah of House Underwood.
The groundbreaking TV hit Lost returns tonight, only on G4. So flashback and then forward again. I think they go sideways at some points. Anyways, with all your favorite characters like the smoke monster, the polar bear, that guy with the eye patch, and the dude from Lord of the Rings. Yeah! Witness 4 back-to-back episodes of the cult TV series continuing tonight at 8/7 Central, only on G4. Still ahead, more Attack of the Show after this. Tomorrow on Attack of the Show. Travis Pastrana, the motocross star of the new movie Nitro Circus 3D, will be here live. Then Chris Gore rates the violent thrillers Detention and ATM on DV Tuesday. And meet 4 explorers undertaking the first non-stop row across the Arctic Ocean to raise awareness about climate change. It's Attack of the Show tomorrow at 7. Let's check out the Twitter wall.
Twitter wall
What are
time.
they saying?
All right, so Steve McLaren says someone needs to impose something on your green screen skirt. So
I
this
do
gonna
have a
be
green screen.
put there.
Can we do something?
Whoa, wow.
That's inappropriate.
Good, that's very funny.
Get
Very
out.
funny, tech people.
Get out of there.
Yes, I'm not there.
We
It's
just
the
met.
guys. I'm clearly
we
right
just met, for goodness sakes. So inappropriate.
What else is on the Ridiculous.
Let's see, Griff Moy, if there was a shrine to Sarah Tunde, what would it consist of?
I would put my pink bikes and surfboards up in there because I'm really excited.
Pink
about it.
bike?
Yeah.
Really? Do you really own a pink bike?
Yeah,
That's
it's
so silly.
a beach cruiser named Roxy. She's lovely.
Nice, okay. Well, thanks to our guest comments.